A mature tropical cyclone or typhoon forms in the northern hemisphere between 180 degrees and 100 degrees east. The northwestern Pacific Basin is the most active tropical cyclone basin on Earth, producing over a third of all tropical storms that occur annually. Typhoon.
Hey folks, we're back again to help you learn something or put you to sleep. Either one's fine with me. I have been told I have a voice for radio. I don't know how true that is, but if it is, you can play me before you go to sleep. I'll help you sleep. Anyway, I'm gonna look at some natural disasters in this video, and we're gonna look at some tornadoes, hurricanes, volcanoes, all kind of other weird stuff that I don't remember the name of. I honestly have not seen this video. I've just seen some clips here and there. But I'm not going to ramble on without further ado.
Volcano. A volcano is a crack in a planet's crust, such as on Earth, that permits hot lava, volcanic ash, and gases to escape from the magma chamber below the surface. And it's one of the craziest things in all of nature. Most volcanoes on Earth are located underwater, and they're most frequently found where tectonic plates are diverging or convergent. For instance, the Pacific Ring of Fire has volcanoes created by convergent tectonic plates, whereas the Mid-Atlantic Ridge includes volcanoes caused by divergent tectonic plates. Civilization itself can be threatened by volcanic explosions, but
I'm wondering how far these people are and what these guys have jackets on, so it looks like they're in a colder environment, but I'm wondering how much heat that's giving off. And I always wonder too, when the helicopters are flying, I guess you have the camera zoom. It kind of reminds me of, this is kind of related but not related. It's like when you're using your camera, head camera or phone, and you're driving in a car or you're riding a bike, it looks scarier through the camera than it actually does when you're actually on the bike or in the car. I just noticed that. So I guess it's the same with this. With the cameras, it looks more intimidating. That looks intimidating, period. But I'm just saying, the camera, it looks more intimidating. And it could be further away than the camera indicates.
But volcanic activity has also given mankind access to vital minerals. After a super eruption of Lake Toba on the Indonesian island of Sumatra, a volcanic winter is believed to have occurred some 70,000 years ago. This could have caused a population bottleneck that had an impact on the genetic makeup of all current people. Major extinction events like the N-Ordovician, Permian Triassic, and late Devonian mass extinctions may have been influenced by volcanic eruptions. Due to its impact on the weather in North America and Europe, Mount Tambora's 1815 eruption led to worldwide climatic anomalies that became known as the year without a summer. Although volcanic eruptions pose significant risk to people, they have historically produced valuable economic resources. Some of the most
Before I go on, I had no idea that one volcano could affect the weather around the world like that. Based on what he said, I had no idea. One volcano.
Fertile soil in the world is made up of weathered basalt and volcanic ash, which is rich in minerals including calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, iron, and potassium.
Sounds like vitamin supplements.
In order to adequately notify residents in the area of impending eruptions, many volcanoes close to populated areas are closely watched. Additionally, a more current understanding of volcanology has helped governments respond to unexpected volcanic activity with greater knowledge. Before we go on, like this video, smash that for the rare topic. Back in 2004, India was one of the countries which experienced the terrible tsunami. This image is apparently one which was taken that day as a huge wave caught these beachgoers totally by surprise. Some tourists managed to get this snap and then escape with their lives, but it's believed that sadly here many did not make it out alive. Is this the scariest wave of all time? What do you...
That does look really scary. Like, look at all those people and the size of them compared to that thing.
What do you think of this photo? Were the tourists just lucky this time? Tornadoes. A tornado is a very fast rotating column of air that makes contact with the Earth's surface, a cumulonimbus cloud, or very rarely the base of a cumulus cloud. It's frequently referred to as a cyclone, twister, or whirlwind, despite the fact that in meteorology, the term cyclone refers to a weather system with a low-pressure depression at its core, around which winds blow counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere and clockwise in the southern.
I gotta make a comment on the camera guys. You notice a lot of the camera guys in these tornadoes so far are kind of far away, except for the one guy driving. I don't know whether to give credit to the guys driving close or call them crazy. I guess we're all thinking the same thing.
But more on those later. Let's get back to tornadoes. Tornadoes arise in a variety of sizes and forms, and they're frequently seen as a condensation funnel rising from the base of a cumulonimbus cloud, which is accompanied by a cloud of whirling dust and debris.
This one looks really intimidating. Really intimidating.
The most powerful tornadoes have a diameter of more than 3 kilometers and can reach wind speeds of more than 480 kilometers per hour and can last on the ground for more than 100 kilometers. A green sky is frequently connected with tornadoes in folklore. However, there's no evidence to support this association. The phenomena may also be related to severe weather in general. It's a common misconception that opening windows can decrease the tornado's damage. Even if there is a considerable reduction in air pressure within a tornado, damage is not anticipated to be because of the result of the pressure difference. Instead, opening windows can make the tornado's damage worse. Whether the windows are opened or closed, a powerful tornado can still completely demolish a house. Research.
Yeah, that's not my first instinct to open the windows. I don't know. I don't want to even be in a situation where I'd want to have to try or think about trying. I guess if you're in a situation, just run to the basement, I guess, if you have one.
Tornadoes is an even more recent field of study than meteorology. There are still certain features of tornadoes that are a mystery, despite 140 years of investigation and 60 years of dedicated study. Number 18. Blizzards. A blizzard is a severe snowfall that lasts for a long time, typically at least 3 or 4 hours, and is marked by strong sustained winds and limited visibility. When snow is not falling, but rather loose snow on the ground is lifted and blasted by high winds, the weather is called a ground blizzard. Blizzards may be quite large and can cover hundreds or even thousands of kilometers.
On a side note, one weird thing I did experience once was thunder during a snowstorm. This was recent. I was kind of in shock, like, or surprised. Like, I've never heard thunder during a snowstorm ever. I'm not saying I guess it's frozen water, but it's just interesting. I've never heard thunder at all until this one time. It was really strange.
The Great Blizzard of 1993, sometimes referred to as the Storm of the Century, was a significant cyclonic storm that developed over the Gulf of Mexico on March 12th of 1993 and dissipated in the North Atlantic Ocean on March 15th. It's distinctive for its power, immense size, and far-reaching impact. The storm's largest eye spanned from Canada to Central America. However, its greatest effects were felt in the US and Cuba. The cyclone traveled over the Gulf of Mexico, the eastern United States, and then finally Canada. Northern Alabama and Georgia experienced a light coating of snow, and Birmingham, Alabama received up to 30 centimeters of snow.
That accident's crazy. I've seen the news reports with several of those type of accidents. It's crazy. I always wonder how long it takes those people to get out.
Along with record low barometric pressures and hurricane-force wind gusts. High storm surges caused by hurricane-force winds in northwest Florida between Louisiana and Cuba killed hundreds of people, coupled with sporadic tornadoes. Over 10 million consumers in the U.S. lost electricity as a result of the hurricane. Nearly 40% of the population of the country is said to have experienced it firsthand at the time.
He said hurricane instead of blizzard. I just caught that.
Number 17. Typhoons. A mature tropical cyclone, or typhoon, forms in the northern hemisphere between 180 degrees and 100 degrees east. The northwestern Pacific Basin is the most active tropical cyclone basin on Earth, producing over a third of all tropical storms that occur annually. Typhoon is the regional word for a strong or mature tropical storm in the northwest Pacific, whereas hurricane is used in the northeast Pacific and northern Atlantic. When 39 storms...
I had no idea. So the west coast is called typhoon and the east coast is called hurricane? That's what I got from that. I had no idea.
Of tropical storm strength developed in 1960.
Or is it, if it's in the Pacific, it's a typhoon, and if it's in the Atlantic, it's a hurricane? That's interesting.
before, it was the most active season for typhoons in the Western Pacific. Since accurate data has been kept, just 15 seasons have had 30 or more storms occur. The 2010 Pacific typhoon season had the least amount of activity in the region, with only 14 tropical storms and 7 typhoons forming. Since 1945, the Philippines has had 19 tropical storms, making 1993 the busiest season for tropical cyclone hits. 1958 saw just 1 tropical storm pass through the Philippines. The Pacific typhoon season of 2004 was Okinawa's busiest since 1957. However, the 1660s and 1670s in Guangdong, southern China, were the years with the greatest typhoon strikes over the previous 1,000 years. Number 16. Ice tsunami. An ice surge.
Now this I've never heard of. This should be interesting. Ice tsunami. I didn't know those two words could go together.
Or ice tsunami are other names for an ice shove. Ocean currents, strong winds, or temperature variations can force ice onto the coast, causing mounds of ice that can reach a height of 12 meters. Ice shoves, which may wreak havoc on coastal Arctic towns, can be brought in by changes in sea level, wind direction, or temperature. The development and frequency of ice shove events will be affected by climate change. An increase in global temperature results in open water that will facilitate ice movement and low pressure systems that destabilize ice sheets and cause them to move shoreward. The effects of ice shoves can be felt in Arctic settlements. Along the Chukchi Sea, ice shoves frequently happen, particularly near Wainwright and Barrow, Alaska. Research has found that in the Chukchi and Beaufort Seas, landfast ice development is beginning later and breaking up earlier. The danger of damaging coastal phenomenon like ice shows in these areas rises as there's more days with open water. Although some have referred to them as ice tsunamis, the phenomena really functions like an iceberg. Eyewitnesses have compared the sound of the shove to that of a locomotive or thunder, and they are really pretty scary.
Again, the people videoing this, with the camera, it looks more intimidating, so I always wonder how close are they?
Number 15. Earthquake. An earthquake is the shaking of the Earth's surface caused by a rapid release of energy in the Earth's lithosphere, which generates seismic waves. It's also referred to as a quake, tremor, or trembler. Earthquakes can range in strength from that are so little that no one can feel them to those that are so powerful that they upend entire cities and send people and buildings flying.
I've experienced my car shaking before during an earthquake. It was weird. At first I thought that, I don't know what I thought. I thought somebody hit me in the back. I kind of wobbled. I was like, what was that?
The 1556 Shanxi earthquake, which struck Shanxi, China on January 23, 1556, was among the most catastrophic in recorded history. Over 830,000 people lost their lives.
That's too many people. That's a lot of people. That's like a major city. That's really bad. That's really sad, actually. Sorry for those, sorry that it happened to those people.
Poseidon was the god of earthquakes and their cause in Greek mythology. He would strike the ground with a trident when he was angry, bringing up earthquakes and other disasters. As a form of retaliation, he also utilized earthquakes to punish and terrorize the populace. The memories of big cities decimated by earthquakes, like Kobe in 1995 or San Francisco in 1906, shapes how earthquakes are portrayed in contemporary popular culture. The hypothetical Big One, which is anticipated to strike California's San Andreas Fault at some point, is the subject of the majority of popular earthquake literature.
Yeah, I've been hearing about the big one my entire life. Like, my entire life. I think, like, the first year I was born, I heard about the big one, and I'm still hearing about it.
It's gonna happen one day, and no doubt it will be terrible. Oh, and your friendly narrator lives on it, so wish me luck.
I would move.
Number 14. Flash flood. Rapid flooding of low-lying places, such as washes, rivers, dry lakes, and depressions, is known as a flash flood. A violent thunderstorm, hurricane, or tropical storm may produce a lot of rain, or water from melting ice or snow may pour through ice sheets or snowfields. The collapse of a man-made dam or a natural ice or debris dam has happened before, like the Johnstown flood of 1889, and it can also result in flash floods. With less than...
Those people are very close. That's That's really close. Honestly, I think I've been close to something like that before, but I was a kid. It looked big to me, but it wasn't big to the grown-ups I was around. There was a creek that overflowed. So to me, it was a small creek, but it looked like it was like a massive river because I was a kid. But my parents and the other adults were like, get away, even though it was big to them. I mean, sorry, big to me, and kind of, it wasn't as big to them. It was like a shallow, it wasn't deep or anything. Once it was flooding the road, it was like maybe 3 inches, but it looked kind of big to me.
6 hours passing between the initial rainfall and the start of flooding, flash floods can be separated from ordinary floods. An average year in the United States sees more fatalities from flash floods than from hurricanes, tornadoes, or lightning. Large amounts of silt may also be deposited on floodplains by flash floods, and
It looks like lava, or I want to say cold lava.
flora that's not used to regular flooding may be destroyed. People frequently underrate the risks posed by flash floods. Flash floods are particularly deadly due to their abrupt onset and swiftly flowing water. Having a car can make people overconfident and less inclined to flee a flash flood. Nevertheless, it offers little to no protection from being swept away. People being carried away in cars while attempting to cross flooded intersections account for more than half of the fatalities linked to flash floods. Number 13. Hailstorm. Hail may seriously harm a variety of things, including cars, airplanes, skylights, glass-roofed buildings, cattle, and most frequently crops. Roof damage from hail is sometimes not discovered until there's additional structural damage, including leaks or fractures. Although flat and shingled roofs are the toughest to detect hail damage on, all roofs have their own unique challenges. Metal roofs can sustain aesthetic damage like dents and cracked coatings, even if they're quite resistant to hail damage overall.
That's crazy. I've felt that before. That doesn't feel good, actually, at all. Not at all. I remember we were rushing home one time because it was hailing, and we were trying to get the dog. I think a dog ran in a doghouse. We were hoping that it ran in the doghouse. That's what was on our mind when we were rushing home.
One of the most serious threats to aviation is hail. Planes can sustain significant damage in a matter of
Wow, the nose. Flattened.
seconds from hailstones that are larger than 13 millimeters in diameter. Aircraft landing on the ground may potentially be risky due to the accumulated hailstones. If an automobile isn't stored in a garage or covered with a shielding material, hail can cause bodily damage and break or even shatter the windshield and other glass. The crops most vulnerable to hail damage include tobacco, wheat, soybeans, and corn. Rarely, large hailstones have been reported to result in deadly head damage or concussions.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Throughout history, hailstorms have been responsible for both expensive and fatal accidents. One of the oldest occurrences took place at Rupkund, Uttarakhand, India, during the 9th century, when 200 to 600 nomans appeared to have perished from injuries caused by hail the size of cricket balls.
Ouch.
Number 2.
I think I'm going to stop there because I've taken up a lot of your time. I don't want to go on for like an hour or half an hour. Those people who do 3 hour, 4 hour videos, I applaud them. I don't have the patience yet. Maybe one day. But I want to thank you for your time. I appreciate you listening. And I want to shout out again to my 2 returning watchers. Thank you. And please like and subscribe. Thanks again.